Michiana highway project delayed for more than 50 years.
With a freeway that kind of ends in the middle of nowhere.
Construction on this road to nowhere started way back in the 1970s.
I had hope until they found the butterflies.
And wound up blocked for 2 decades by a rare endangered butterfly.
Is this butterfly the villain?
It depends who you talk to.
But now, US 31, once the most dangerous road in all of Michigan,
Pray for me, I drive on US 31.
is finally complete.
A miracle. A miracle.
Tonight, ABC 57 News takes you on an exclusive road trip along the new interstate just opened in time for the holiday season.
So that is the end of the highway to nowhere?
Yes.
Creating an important new crossroads in Berrien County for commuters, vacationers, and truckers.
3, in essence, interstate highways, all connecting at the same place.
How big a deal is that?
Huge. It's huge.
Hello and welcome to The Butterfly Effect, an ABC 57 half-hour special. I'm Brian Connie-Bear. Over the next 30 minutes, we'll show you how the final piece of this 50-year puzzle was finally put in place, just in time for holiday traffic. But it could not happen until the Michigan Department of Transportation was forced to change the original route of the new US 31 to avoid driving those federally protected butterflies closer to extinction.
Whether it's in snow, sleet, rain, or sun, US 31 carries thousands of vehicles across the Indiana-Michigan border every single day. Passenger cars, massive semi-trucks, minivans, and motorhomes full of families, all headed to their various destinations. But for nearly 20 years, the 4-lane divided highway just ended at Napier Avenue in Benton Township. All northbound traffic forced to exit there, with signs saying simply, "Freeway ends." Orange gates keeping vehicles off the never-opened entrance ramps, something that always frustrated long-haul trucker Jeff Young.
How long have you been driving a truck, and how long have you been using US 31 and I-94?
Since 1988.
Wow.
It's been a long time.
Jeff drives one of the thousands of 18-wheelers forced to leave the 70-mile-an-hour freeway and take a local street, often filling up at the strategically placed truck stop right there on Napier.
It is a lot. It's wear and tear on the vehicle. The stop, the go, the drive line, the transmission, the brakes. I mean, it's a lot more. We stop, go, stop, go, stop. But you're keeping steady. You're not using all that equipment. Your equipment's going to last longer. But with all going down these side streets and all that, like I said, stop and go, it just burns more fuel.
What do you think about the fact that they're, after all these years, they're finally opening them?
A miracle. A miracle. But I'm going to retire soon.
It may be too late to make a major difference for Jeff Young, but that miracle is unfolding right before his very eyes. After more than 5 decades of planning, construction, and delays, what was once derisively called the highway to nowhere is now finally complete. MDOT opening the new $135 million US 31 I-94 connector project on November 9th, about a month after newly re-elected Governor Gretchen Whitmer cut the ribbon with a host of elected officials, engineers, and dignitaries on hand.
This project will save Michiganders time and money while keeping them safer on the roads.
What did you think, what did you feel when you heard this highway was finally going to be done?
I was truly excited. And I was excited because now we have the gateway open where people can come from Indiana and decide which way they want to go, whether it's Chicago or Grand Rapids, Detroit. We are here for them.
Kathy Yates is the Benton Charter Township supervisor. It was her community inundated over the years by about 17,000 vehicles per day, many of them big rig semis trying to connect between 31 and I-94.
Did that create issues on your local roads, dangers, accidents, more traffic than you needed, semis wearing out your local roads?
That is very true. Napier got used a lot. And I'm sure Pipestone the same way, depending on which exit they decided to use. But I know for sure Napier was very heavily trafficked, and depending on the time of day, sometime it became congested.
Right, and that can be dangerous.
It can be dangerous.
And with the long-delayed highway finally connected, she's breathing a sigh of relief.
I didn't think it would be in my lifetime. because I had hope until they found the butterflies.
Ah, the butterflies, a federally listed endangered species with beautiful brown spots on the wings, called the Mitchell's satyr butterfly to be exact.
I was blown away by the fact that here we had one of the rarest butterflies in the world right here between, Benton Harbor and South Bend.
And Nate Fuller knows butterflies. He's the executive director of the Surrett Nature Center off Benton Center Road in Benton Harbor, who studies the Mitchell's satyr.
99% of their life is caterpillar. As I like to say, they're caterpillars with really fancy ways of making more caterpillars. They reproduce by growing wings to fly and mate. Their lifespan is really, each individual is, they're lucky if they make it 2 weeks.
One of Nate's jobs is to do an annual count of the butterfly population. And they're small groups, known as flutters, that live in very specialized spring-fed marshes, with water warm enough and moving enough to keep from freezing in the winter. He used to see dozens of them clustered together, but not anymore.
Once we start seeing those numbers in that less than 10, I've witnessed it probably 10 times, where we get down 5, 6, 3, none.
The end of that colony of these endangered butterflies.
Yep, just gone. I've seen it in the Dowagiac area. I've seen it over near Union. I've seen it outside Kalamazoo. I've seen it out in Berry County. It's happened here twice in Berrien County.
And in 1992, after US 31 was linked to Berrien Springs at M139, exit 15, the project came to a screeching halt to protect one of the few remaining Mitchell's satyr butterfly habitats, the Blue Creek Fen, that was right in the middle of the final proposed section of the highway that was supposed to connect 31 to I-94 and I-196 once and for all.
Powerful enough to stop a highway from being built?
It made it easy when the butterfly was in the way to say, nope, can't do it. There's an endangered butterfly, go somewhere else. But I don't think that's the only reason why things were delayed and rerouted, but it's definitely a valuable reason in my opinion.
A tiny little critter stops a massive
It stopped it for years.
Congressman Fred Upton, who's retiring after 35 years in Washington, has been working on the US 31 project even longer than he's been in office.
Well, I actually got involved in the 70s because Dave Stockman was elected in 76. I was his project manager and in charge of constituent service. So we started working on the segments. I was the one that worked with the Transportation Committee folks and others, built the relationships, and in fact cut the first ribbon, the first segment with Governor Otis Bowen.
How difficult was this project overall? I mean, it had to be frustrating, the start and stop.
Well, you know what? The earmarks really helped.
Upton says the butterfly certainly presented a major challenge, but so did winning over public support for building the new highway, buying the land now home to the brand new blacktop, and finding much of the money in Washington.
You remember we had the bridge to nowhere years ago in Alaska.
That boondoggle was one of the worst examples of wasteful pork barrel spending ever to come out of Washington. And the $400 million bridge to nowhere in Ketchikan, Alaska was never built. But it also made securing federal funds even harder here at home.
I was on the Transportation Committee, and that's where the earmarks come about. So you have to convince your colleagues that it's a worthwhile project. You know, I was always fully transparent, you know. We didn't hide from the fact that I was looking for an earmark to get this done. And what it does is, it in essence tells the state, look, here's a lot of money, spend it or lose it. And it became a priority.
The combination of increasing semi-traffic on the winding two-lane old US 31, now known as M139, and an incredibly high accident rate made that project even more important.
What does that bumper sticker say?
Pray for me, I drive on US 31. Per mile, it was then, way back in the 70s, they had more accidents per mile than any other highway in the state of Michigan. Remember, there was no shoulder, it's foggy at night, you got the dips and valleys, and a lot of traffic goes, but, Berrien Springs was at one time the county seat.
And Congressman Upton himself even witnessed the aftermath of one of the worst crashes ever on Old 31. In 1986, a flatbed truck carrying a huge vat of molten aluminum south to an Indiana car factory made headlines, flipping over on the hairpin turn over the St. Joe River in Berrien Springs, encasing 2 Michigan Bell telephone executives in aluminum inside their vehicle.
These were trucks that were going down to a Chrysler facility in Indiana, and it would be taking molten aluminum in these big pots that were just strapped on a flatbed truck. And you'd see maybe 1 or 2 of these things maybe a day. He came through downtown Berrien Springs, and the bridge was a little bit different, but it was a little bit sharper of an angle as he cut to the south. And he flipped over and caught a car, and it was done. It was over real quick.
But that tragic accident helped spur state and federal lawmakers to find the money and move the US 31 project forward in pieces.
Tragically, we know some lives that were lost because we didn't have a highway that was going to safely transport people, let alone the cargo and everything else.
But by the early 90s, the butterfly effect was about to halt construction completely, leading to an even longer delay and a complete rerouting of the final segment. When we come back, we'll take you out onto the new highway itself and meet one of the MDOT experts working on the project for decades.